works always respond to the site, so the place that they're going to be installed is really important. And I never sort of pre-make any of the work in the studio. I'm interested in how the works respond to the kind of elements in their environment, and they're really not fixed. They're kind of very temporal in their formation, and even in the way that they're hung, they're very kind of provisional. I use magnets and steel bars, so the steel bars are kind of the understructure, and then all of the prints on top are hung with magnets. The piece outside the window shifts quite a lot in response to the sunlight, so when the sun comes through in the middle of the day, you have this like amazing orange kind of glow that kind of hits the floor and the walls. With the downstairs space, I had been thinking about trying to divide the space. I've almost architecturally installed a wall into the gallery. I didn't want the wall to mirror the architecture and be very straight and linear. So I was excited by the idea of having these steel bars that were visible from the back, sort of crossing over and being at angles that cut through the space. As the light passes through from the back of the gallery, you have windows of light passing through the prints, and you can see the shadows of the structures of the steel bar, and lots of shapes sort of appear and come and go in the work. When you move around the back of the piece, you can see how the colour has kind of bled through the paper and how it's saturated the surface. I really enjoy how with printmaking you can imbue the surface with colour, so rather than the medium kind of being sat on top of the surface, the ink is kind of pushed directly into the fibres of the paper. So this idea of each sheet kind of going through the etching press and the pressure then transferring the ink onto the paper is a quality that you can't get with any other medium. With the room upstairs, I knew that I wanted to have one installation that kind of filled the whole environment rather than individual works. And I was interested in the idea of the work kind of coming off the wall and spanning onto the floor, and having a divide in the space so that the work kind of physically blocks you from entering the space. So once you come into the room, you're kind of directed to stand at one side of the piece and look at it from a certain position, rather than being able to kind of orient yourself around it with a 360. The two components in that installation are using different inks, and the metallic components are made with a lithography ink, and limey green, yellow prints are using an etching ink. When the prints are on the floor, you can see the wood grain of the flooring kind of coming through the prints, which really sort of emphasises this link between the work and the environment and how they're interacting with the space.